Hi everyone, and welcome to my Friday Fun Fold video. This is Patty from pspapercrafts. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to make a ribbon pinwheel card, and I think it's really pretty. It looks kind of quilted. I actually embossed the top of it, so I think it gives it, you know, an even more quilty kind of look. And here's the inside, and it's on a single layer card base, and then it has a smaller, you know, card that you can open. I saw a lot of these on Pinterest, and I actually followed Wendy Lee, who got it from one of her team people. So I don't know who the originator is, but I went with Wendy's measurements. So this one was made using this, I love the colors in it. This is the Nature Walk Designer Series paper, and this piece just kind of jumped out at me. I think it's Blueberry Bushel and Night of Navy, and it just has all these kind of they'd be great for die cutting. It's very masculine. So I think it's a neat paper to use for something like this. So I use this, and then I use the banner sayings for the I Can't Thank You Enough, and that has a punch that coordinates with the different sentiments. It's got 3 different punches. I use this top one that has one end as a banner. So we're going to use that again, and we're going to use the stamp set again. And then I just added one of these pearlized faceted circles to the center, the white one. I thought that was kind of pretty. And what else did I do? I used the embossing folder. Let me just get that. That is the beautiful pattern embossing folder, and I think it really works well with this card. So we are going to use different paper. I think I might use the same embossing folder. We're going to figure that out as we go. And I am using the Lovely and Beautiful 12 by 12. And this paper is lovely and beautiful. It really has a lot of nice big bold flowers and gold accents. I almost went with this and this. I think that would be a nice combination for this card, but I just love this and I decided to go with it. I'm not sure if we're going to use the dark green or gold for the little triangles. We'll figure that as we go. So we are using, I have my pieces all cut. I will have all the measurements in a project sheet. And if you look below the video, there's a description, and in there, there's a bunch of links. You can shop my online store there. You can sign up for my email. You can get the project sheet. So lots of stuff there. If you just look below the, there's like a paragraph and then a bunch of links. So we are starting with, this is a thick piece of basic white, and this is the single layer card base. And then we have a piece of old olive, and this one is cut to 7 3/4 by 5 1/8. And we are going to score that to fold it right in half. So that is 3 7/8, or you could just fold it in half and score it. So 3 7/8. We'll score it there. I'm going to keep this out because we're going to do some cutting. So let's make sure this is even. Like we're off a little bit there, but we're going to go with it. Do you ever have that where it's kind of just off a little bit? I may just trim it up a little bit here. I feel like something's off. So what did I say? 3 3/4. Sometimes if you don't have it lined up there. Nope, that's not it. 5 1/8. So 5 1/8. Yeah, see, it's a little bit off. 5 1/8 by 7 3/4. I just want to make sure it's all lined up nice. 7 3/4. So that one looks pretty good. So let's see if it folds better. It does. And I'm just going, I've got like kind of a ridge here. If you ever get a ridge, just use your bone folder to kind of straighten it out. It is a pretty new blade, but I feel like because I cut off such a tiny bit that it's not always clear. So I'm just going to clean this up Okay. All right, we're good. All right, so that is the kind of the card that will sit on this base. Okay, and then we have this white piece, and that's this white piece here. And we have different pieces of, or strips of designer series paper. So the biggest one, they're all 1 inch wide. So this is 1 by 4. And then I have a 1 by 2 3/4. And then 2 that are 1 by 2. Okay, and then we're going to play and see whether we want the green or the gold for the triangles. And these are 1 by 1, and then we're going to cut them in half. So we're just going to lay it in our trimmer, and then we'll have all our pieces cut. And I like to start, I don't like to go on the point, I like to start in the middle. So we'll have this. And you don't need both the gold and the green. I don't know which one I want to go with. So I'm cutting them both, and we're going to play and see what we like best. So those are one set. And then this is a different set if we want to use the green. So sometimes when you're doing a, you know, a point, you might push it instead of cut it. If you start like coming out right up here. So I like to just start in the middle and go up and down. Okay, so with this piece, what Wendy did was she scored it instead of using a pencil. I'm going to use a pencil. So you are going to put it in the 3 3/4 inch side up there, and we're going to score it, or mark it with a pencil, whichever you decide you would prefer to do. I like to go right in here, and what's nice about this is you can just score it without marking each end and then drawing the straight line between it. If you were going to use a ruler, you know, you put a point and then connect them. So this makes it easier. And then you are going to turn it to the right, or to the left. I have to get my right, my left. If not, you might draw the lines in the wrong place, which I did a couple of times, and it didn't quite work. So you want it so that it looks like this. So I did one that looked like this, and it doesn't work. I guess it would be the opposite, but so you want to draw your line here, and then you want to turn it this way and draw it here. And you're going in 1.5 inches on each of those lines or scores. Okay, so now you have your piece. What you're going to do, these are longer than what you need, so we're going to just lay it along this line, and then you can either cut these off or you could fold them over. I did fold them over here, and it does kind of, I don't know if it really matters, it kind of makes it nice. I'm going to use my silicone mat, and just want to make sure I'm doing this in right order. It's a little tricky sometimes. So I'm going to just put some adhesive. I'm using my Seal Plus. Now, if you had a pattern that was a direction, you know, a certain direction, like the flowers were all kind of going up, you want to make sure that you're cutting the pieces. So this goes this way, and then this one you would want to cut the other direction so that it's all facing up. So just beware when you're cutting paper that you really look if it's got a direction to it, so that it doesn't look upside down or sideways or something. Both of these cards that I made is, I'll call them non-directional. It's kind of an all-over pattern. Okay, so you're going to do that. I'm thinking I did that wrong because you can see the pencil, but I didn't. So just kind of follow the card, the picture, in the directions or the video as you're going, to make sure you put things in the right order. So then this is going to go over here. Okay, and then we've got one more of the shorter pieces. And this is going to come down here. And I'm going to fold them all over. There is sticky on the back. So I'm just going to fold them. Again, if you want to cut them, you can cut them, I would say, from the back. Because I want to get the real look before we decide on the triangles that we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a guide in placing them. So this is one choice, gold, and I am going to emboss it. I'm hoping the embossing goes well with the gold if I decide to go with the gold. So here's, I'm just going to place them like this so they all point in. So this is one. Okay, and then it would be, let's see if we can maneuver it onto here without shaking it up too much. And then it will go on this. Okay, so that's one choice. And then the other choice is the darker green. And this is the other side of this paper. The gold is just the gold foil. I'm kind of liking the dark green, I think. Although with the embossed, it might be nice with the gold. What do you think? I think I'm going to go with the dark green. So we're just going to, I'm going to glue these down just to make sure that I get into all of the corners. So we'll just put a little bit of glue all the way out to the edge. And you could just use cardstock too. You don't have to use a, you know, a pattern paper for this if you would prefer it. This one, so I want to go back to that card because I used, these are all the same strip. Let me just put this down and I'll show you that. I'm getting sticky on my fingers. So I ended up cutting 2 strips of this, so you'll see. Let me get it. I wanted to get a lot of the light color in these, and then this, I was going to do this side, but I ended up doing this side. So I cut 2 1-inch strips, and then I cut it so I had a lot of the lighter color, and then I used the darker color. So that's how I did this. But again, you can just use cardstock if you want. So we're going to do this. So you're making a pinwheel here. And then one more with my sticky fingers here. And then this one goes this way. Okay, isn't that pretty? And I think then when you emboss it, it really makes it. So let's emboss this before we put it together. And I am going to use this same embossing folder. I think this is a good one for it. It's not like it's an all over pattern. So let me get my machine. Let's put this on the side. And this is a 3D embossing folder. So with the 3D embossing folders, you want to put it in. And I like to use this line as a guide. So I'll go right along this line. Make sure it's straight. And then I'm using, this is just the base plate, the number 1. And then you just need the number 4 plate, which is for the, it's a specialty plate, and it's for 3D embossing folders. I'm trying not to make it pop too much. All right, and I'm looking at it. It doesn't say it's a 3D embossing folder. Usually it does, but you could tell because it's thick. It's hard. The other ones are kind of flimsy. So let's see. Isn't that pretty? So it actually embossed everything. kind of like if you were quilting, right? You would quilt the pattern over everything. I'm not a quilter, but I know that much. All right, so we are I'm going to use liquid glue. I like to use liquid glue when putting down on an embossed layer to get in all the nooks and crannies there. Isn't that pretty? And you could pick up the fresh freesia in here as well. Okay, and then we'll put this right on the card base. You can make a full card out of this as well. You don't have to make it so it's sitting on a card base like this. You'd probably have to adjust where you are laying your paper and the score lines and everything, or the pencil lines. Okay, isn't that pretty? So I thought we would make a birthday card out of this using the banner sayings. We're going to do happy birthday and then celebrate. So let's get a piece of scrap, and I'm going to stamp this in fresh freesia. We're going to stamp it and then punch it. Now if you didn't emboss here, you could probably just stamp right on the card. Let's put this aside for a minute, and I'm going to do this bigger one. And I'll have this extra little banner in case I need it. Hopefully that's not too big. I don't think so. So happy birthday. Let's put that down with some dimensionals. Have some right here. Feels like a warm day today. It's 32. It's been, it's supposed to go single digits. It's been very cold. I get my dog out in the morning and oof, it's been so cold. He doesn't even want to go out. But today when we went out, it's sunny and 32. Who would have thought that would be a warm day? But it's nice. Okay, so we have that, and then the inside. So the inside layer is 3 3/4 by 5. I have this is 3/4 by 5, and we are going to do celebrate. And I'm not adding this down until I stamp, but I like to have it in place so I can see where I want to stamp. Kind of gives me a boundary there. All right, so on this one, what I did was I just cut 1 by 1, and then I cut it in half and then in half again, just to, I was going to try to do something like this, but I decided it would, I don't know, I wanted to make it simple so I could write a note in there. Okay, and this will come right down here. And then this will come on here, and then we just have to decide on something to put in the middle of that, because it needs something. So I have a couple of ideas. Whoops. All right, so I thought there's these, they're pretty. It's a beautifully adorned ephemera pack. I have a hard time with that word. And I have that already open. I just wanted to show you what it looked like in the package, but I have it in a stamp case. And I thought maybe, there's a bunch of pages of different patterns, and they're really beautiful. Well, let's not fight with this. I thought maybe one of these, if I can get to it. Let's get this one. So I thought maybe this, let's see, or this, if I can get it out. That. I'm not sure that I like the white vellum around it. That one's not bad. Or one of these. I'm thinking this, again, is kind of like these center things. So I'm going to go with this. All right. So it's good to have different ideas to play with and just, you know, test it out before you put it in. This is a nice size, and it can go right in here. And if you wanted to add to each side of this or anywhere else, I'm just going to leave it like that. And so these are the two cards. Again, it is a ribbon pinwheel card. And I've got so much stuff here. Let's get it out of the way so you could see them. So I can't thank you enough. And then happy birthday, celebrate. And these are my Friday fun fold from my January calendar. And you can get this calendar if you subscribe to my email. Each month I send it out. So we did the pinwheel, the ribbon pinwheel card. Next one, we're going to do the carved wood technique, and that involves scoring multiple times, and it's pretty cool. I saw it on Split Coast Stampers, and I thought it would be a good one to show you guys. So thanks for joining me. I hope to see you next week, and have a good week. Take care.